A force is a push or pull upon an object resulting from the object's interaction with another object. Whenever there is an interaction between two objects, there is a force upon each of the objects. A force is exerted by one object to another object. If you push or pull an object, it is a force. When any object stays in one place or does not move from one direction to another direction, a force is required to move an object from one direction to another direction. There are mainly 6 types of forces: muscular force, mechanical force, frictional force, gravitational force, electrostatic force, and magnetic force. Muscular force is defined as the force exerted by the muscles of the body. In muscular force, we use muscles of the body like arms and legs to do any kinds of works and activities. Pulling a rope, holding heavy object, and doing physical exercises are an example of muscular force. When we do any kinds of activities like playing toys and games and riding a bicycle, muscular forces are required all these activities. Mechanical force is defined as the force which is generated by a machine. If we do any kind of work on machine, it is a mechanical force. Pulling a bucket from a well is an example of mechanical force. Muscular energy is required if we pull a bucket from a well. Another example of mechanical force is to put clothes on washing machine. Electricity is required if we put clothes on washing machine, but not muscular energy. Some types of machines requires muscular energy while others requires electricity. Frictional force is the force if you take an object in the same direction or in the opposite direction. Frictional force is the opposing forces between two surfaces. If you start taking heavy objects back and front, the back and front movement of objects acts as opposing forces between two surfaces. This shows you frictional force. Another example of frictional force is when the car travels in the same direction, suddenly when the car turns around, it moves in the opposite direction. This movement of car in the opposite direction shows you frictional force. Gravitational force is defined as the universal forces of attraction acting between all matters. Gravity is measured by the speed of the object that it gives to freely falling objects. An apple falling from a tree is an example of gravitational force. If any object falls on the ground due to air, it acts as gravitational force. Another example of gravitational force is if you throw a ball in an upward direction, the ball starts moving in an upward direction. And when the ball stops moving in an upward direction, the speed of the ball falls down. This is due to the gravitational force. An object falling down from upward direction is due to the gravitational force. Electrostatic force is defined as the force exerted by electrically charged substances. If you rub an object against another object without touching by your hands, it acts as electrostatic force. When we use an object touches on another object without touching by our hands, it is an electrostatic force. A charged comb picking up small pieces of paper due to static electricity is an example of electrostatic force. In this image, we can see clearly that we don't use and touch our hands when we pick small pieces of paper. If we use an inflated balloon for rubbing against our hair, static electricity is produced. It is another example of electrostatic force. Magnetic force is defined as the force exerted by the magnets. If you are bringing two magnets of north and south pole close to each other, the magnets attracts and repels each other. All the magnetic substances will be pulled due to magnetic force. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like and share.